All right, hey everyone, welcome back. So sorry there was no show yesterday. I got home actually late and figured there's not much going on, right? None of the miners have provided any updates on their productions for September. Seemed like today I was kind of hoping somebody would provide that, but they didn't. But nonetheless, Bitcoin is going up. Miners have been doing really well, so we're going to take a look at what's going on with those. There are some miners that want to go up higher, but they're battling with resistance right now. We'll talk about those in a little bit. And then we do have some good outlook, I think, for not only Cleanspark, IREN, as well as others potentially. There's some tweets. We'll talk about those, just a couple. Other than that, I think that's about it. So we'll get into Q&A. I'm hoping that somebody reports tomorrow their production update for September here because I'm just waiting. Twiddling my thumbs right now. I'm just waiting for those updates to come in. All right. Nonetheless, we got to go through this as always. It is not financial advice for people only. Do your own research. Full disclosure below that. Hit the like button, subscribe. Helps me out tremendously here. And let's take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin has been on a nice little tear here the last couple of days. So if we look at it here, obviously we didn't do a show yesterday, but Bitcoin had a really good day yesterday. It was up 4.03%. Today we were up another 1.65%. We broke the 120,000 mark again here. The RSI is still looking pretty good on the daily here. I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, I mean, we could see, 124, 125,000 within the next couple of days, to a week, I would say, if this continues going forward here. If we do come back down a little bit here, I'm guessing we'll probably fall down to right around maybe 117 or something like that. Test that again because we do have some support there at that point. So that's kind of what I would be looking for that one. Markets overall were in the green today as well, so that was good to see. Ethereum was also in the green. Yesterday was up nicely, 4.93%. Today was up 3.15%. So that's looking pretty good here. The miners, like I said, have had a pretty good day also last 2 days. For the most part, Bitfarms was down a little bit yesterday, but it was back up today. It got even a little bit higher from where it was yesterday. At one point, I mean, the miners had a weird action going on today. They were positive pre-market hours, got negative early hours, went positive, went negative, went positive, some went negative, and then some went back positive here throughout the day. So it was a kind of wild day as far as the markets were concerned here. But Bitfarms was up just a little bit, 4.64% today. BitDeer was actually down after being up nicely yesterday. Yesterday was up 5.32. Today was down 2.17%. It tried to retest that. So that one tested like $19.01 or $19. That appears to be resistance at that one. So we got pretty close to it back on September 23rd. We tested it here yesterday. We tested it again today. I think the more times it knocks on that level there, it's going to eventually break through it here. It's just a matter of time. Kanga was up a little bit today, 1.33%. Cypher was up nicely today, 9.6% after being up also yesterday. Cleanspark was up a little bit here, 3.77%. This one is also battling with 1538, it seems like. It did it yesterday. Tried doing it again after going down much lower in the beginning and then came back up here and tested it. So we'll see if that can break through it again. I think the more times it knocks on that level, it will actually enter through it. CORZ was up just a little bit here today, 0.72%. This thing has been kind of flat here the last couple of days. Hive was up 4.81%. This one got, I think it might be like a new high for it in the 52-week time frame. Let's see, last time it was back at these levels was back December, almost 52 weeks. So it's come back up to those levels here. We do have some support and resistance possibly right around this level here. You can see here on the chart here back on September 15th, it got close to it. Got denied here. Obviously, it's trying again today. It got denied here a little bit. So we'll see if we can break through that one as well. Hut 8 was up 6.87%. Here's another one that's trying to break through that $39 level, more or less. $39 to $40 level roughly, or even $39.50, I think it is. Somewhere on that level. It's trying to break through that. Eventually, I think it will. Whether it's going to be tomorrow or next week, I think it will. IREN had a crazy day today also. It went up, it went down, went up, it went down, and finally ended up in the red here. But it's battling also with, was it $49.39, somewhere around there, roughly. So that is a resistance line for right now, right? Keep knocking. We will eventually break through that, and we'll probably go even higher from where we are right now. Mara was up just a little bit here, 0.97%. Riot was up 1.69% also. And Wolf was up 0.96%. And this one was knocking on 1227 here today. It's not showing up as resistance yet. We'll see if tomorrow it tries to go above that again. And if it gets rejected, right, it may knock a couple times before it goes up. The Bitcoin holding companies here. Sorry if you guys can hear all the running footsteps upstairs. My kid's playing with the dog. MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy was up again today. It was up 4.11% here. Galaxy was up 2.18%. Block was up 4.65%. Coin was up nicely, 7.48%. Metaplanet was up 1.9. Exodus was up 9%. This one is Nexon, was up 1.24. Similar was up a little bit, 1.06%. Phoenix was actually down 2.96. And GameStop was down 1.7% there. Small miners. As far as how did they do, Mawson for some reason was up huge today. It was up 60%. That is a wicked candle there. I'm not sure why that one was up. Let's see if there's any news on that one. September 3rd, there's nothing new here on this one. Right? I mean, we're seeing that kind of happen with some of the smaller miners where they pump on any given day here. The last time it was at this price was going back here to January of 2025 here. So that one had a great day today. Canon was up also very nicely up today, 26.92%. See if there's any recent news here. Canon jumps on 7-month high on largest order in 3 years. Canon shares jump over 25% following a 50,000 unit Avalon Bitcoin miner order in the US. Okay, so somebody ordered there. All right, so that's why it's pumping. So that's good. That's good for them. Who else was up here nicely today? DigiPower was also up, probably like 20% up at one point. And then it came back down here, looks like. Bitcoin ETF, Bitcoin miner ETFs were up nicely as well. BitQ was up 4.08%. BKCH was up 4.41. DAP was up 4.88. WGMI continues to get to new highs here. Was up another 3.15% there. And then the Ethereum holding companies here had actually a pretty good day. 7.91 for BMNR. BTBT was up 6.41. BTCS was up 3.93. Game was up 6.74. And SBET was up 4.15%. So they're finally starting to wake up a little bit here. ABTC, right, was up just a little bit, 0.42%. Wi-Fi, which had a great run yesterday. If you saw that, was up 17.74%. It went up also nicely here. Let's see if there's any news on that one. Today's white fiber indicated a buy by HC Wainwright. Okay, so that helped it out there. Open was down 0.62. Oracle was down 0.08. Nibius was up 8.87 today. That was a nice run there. Soluna was actually down 2.76%. And Backed was up another 28.61. So as you guys know, Mike Alfred there, if you guys follow him, he has joined the board at Backed about a week and a half ago. Yeah, I think it was somewhere around there. Right when he joined the board, stock has been on a tear here recently. So if you got in it at that point when Mike announced it, you're doing really, really well here right now, as it is. As far as the miners after hours here right now, that's basically the markets overall. Miners in the after hours, BitTier is up a little bit, 1.08%. Bitfarms is up also 1.02%. Cypher is up, Cypher is up nicely, 2.39%. Cleanspark is up just a little bit, 0.46%. CORZ Scientific is up 0.66. Hive Digital is up 1.376. Hut 8 up just a bit, 0.03%. IREN is actually, let's see, is it in the green? 0.06%. Mara is up 0.37%. Riot is up 0.31%. TerraWolf is actually down 0.26%, and Soluna here is actually up after hours 2.8% there. So it's getting back some of the losses that I had from today. All right, Bitcoin here for the month of October right now. Let's take a look at this, get this updated here. It is up 5.39%, so we're already doing better than we did in September, right? So Uptober continues to look positive for us here, at least in the beginning here. We'll see where we end up at the end of the month. We obviously are only 2 days into it. We need more time on that one. For the quarter here, for the new quarter, well, it's going to be the same thing, 5.39% on that one. Bitcoin ETF inflows really quick as well to see what's going on with those. We saw nice inflows yesterday. IBIT, BlackRock buying 405 million there. We had 675 million total inflows, and we've had positive inflows in the last 3 days, which is nice. And then we got inflows today again. We'll see where BlackRock comes in at that point also tomorrow. Some of the good outlook stories that we do have here is, this is from CPA on X. He says, Cleanspark being the last miner to take off wasn't in my bingo cards, but 1 gigawatt of power, excellent management and team who achieves their set goals early or on time. Rare in the mining sector. If you know, you know, right? And then this is obviously based on Mike Alfred's tweet or post. Cleanspark very quietly closed over 15 today. I am looking for a move towards 20 to 25 this month. And his stance has kind of changed after he had dinner with Matt Schultz about a week and a half ago or so. So he's becoming a little bit more bullish on Cleanspark there. He bought some shares before the meeting also. So that's great to see there that he's talking about it also. So he's going to be pumping our bags going forward as well. This is from, let's see, Bison. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing this right, so I apologize if I'm not. This is IREN Dan. We have 23,000 GPUs operating or about to be installed in coming months, and we have capacity to 3x that in short order. And this is from a interview that Dan did here on the Cube here. He's been on a press junket here recently in the last week and a half or so. He's been on a bunch of shows, Fox, CNBC, who else? Yahoo Finance, I think he was also on there. But let's just take a quick listen to this comment really quick from him. It's about 13 seconds or so.
We've expanded from 1,900 servers at the end of June, and we've now got 23,000 either operating or being installed in the coming months, and we've got capacity to 3x that in short order as well.
Talk about the...
So 3x that in short order, so we're at 23,000, so we're looking at approximately 60,000 GPUs. I had asked Grok, I kind of knew the math was what it was going to be, right? We know right now that based on 23,000 GPUs, there are going to be annual run rate of about 500 million next year. So I knew it was going to be probably, if you multiply that times 3, you're probably looking at about 1.5 billion in revenue. And I asked Grok on this, I just asked the question, Grok, what will IREN's ARR be if they install 60,000 GPUs? So this is what they had to say. Iris Energy has recently expanded its AI cloud GPU fleet to approximately 23,000 units, targeting the more than 500 million in annualized run rate revenue. For the segment by Q1 2026, this ARR figure is calculated based on the contracted GPU hour pricing multiplied by 8,760 hours per year, with internal assumptions around utilization and pricing. And the company has power capacity to support more than 60,000 Blackwell GPUs across its facilities, assuming linear scaling from its current 23,000 GPUs target. With similar pricing and utilization, installing 60,000 GPUs would yield an AI cloud ARR of approximately 1.3 billion. This is derived as follows. So per GPU ARR, from current target 500 million divided by 23,000 GPUs equals 21,739 per GPU per year. Scale to 60,000 GPUs, you're looking at 1.304 billion. This is just an illustrative projection. Actual results could vary based on contract terms, utilization rates, GPU mix, whether it's the H100s, B100s or 200s, Blackwells, etc., and market demand. IREN's total company ARR would also include its Bitcoin mining segment, projected to over 1 billion for 2025, though expansions could involve trade-offs with mining capacity, right? So they could take off some exahash at that point. But more or less, we're looking somewhere between, if we include, I would say part of the Bitcoin mining side of things as well. So let's just say their annual run rate next year is in Bitcoin mining 800 million, right? It's 1 billion right now, roughly. 800 billion for that, 1.5 billion for, or 1.3 billion for GPUs. We're looking at 2.1 billion annual run rate at that point. That's huge growth for them from where they are right now. So the stock will probably go up much higher from here, especially if they announce any kind of news or updates on getting to 60,000 GPUs here, especially as Horizon 1 comes online. And that's going to be the first site that they're going to have that's going to be liquid-cooled GPUs running at that point. So that's going to be exciting there because they can also catch probably a little bit of a premium on that for time being, while everybody else is struggling, trying to get sites up and running for liquid-cooled GPUs. All right, so that's awesome there. And this is another continuation here as well on it from the same gentleman there, or lady, I'm not sure. Unbiased IREN extremely likely after watching this interview will enter Q2 2026 base case or Q3 2026 base case, i.e. Queen's next financial year with 2 billion annual run rate of GPUs plus BTC mining. I think he went a little higher there, but maybe because the liquid cooled GB300s could catch a little bit more of a premium. We don't know that, but overall, we're thinking somewhere between 1.3 to maybe 1.5 billion here right now on 60,000 GPUs plus whatever they're getting for Bitcoin mining as well. All right, so that's it. That's all I got for you guys. Like I said, I'm waiting for some updates from the miners as far as their productions for September, and we'll cover it at that point when they do. Hopefully they put out, at least one of them puts it out. In the past, we've had Bitfarms being pretty quick to report that they were always on the first day of the month. We don't have them reporting anymore, so we're kind of waiting on everybody else to catch up. I think we might have some from maybe Kango. Kango has been pretty quick recently, and I would expect maybe Cleanspark or IREN to report as well. They've been pretty quick to report also. But yeah, we'll see where things lead us or take us at that point. All right, that is it. That's all I got. Let's get into Q&A here. We'll call it a day. See what you guys have to say on any other stuff, questions or comments or anything like that. As always, preface the questions with a question mark or a Q. I'd appreciate it here, and we're going to scroll all the way up to the beginning of the comments and work my way down as always. Go from there. Okay. Victor C, is there any news for Cypher? Thanks. I have not seen any news for them other than when we talked about it, I believe it was on Tuesday, which wasn't really news. It was just that they are also looking to get into their own cloud services, similar to IREN, what IREN's doing, right? We talked about that. Shinshi, good to see you all. Good to see you as well. Aid says DMGI had a good run this week. It has, so has a lot of miners. More Tim, Dan Roberts mentioning tripling GPUs in short order. Yeah, I know. That's the great news about it there. Short order means probably within the next couple of months, right? When Horizon 1 gets going, I think they can actually, correct me if I'm wrong here, can they get to 60,000 GPUs with just the sites that they have in Canada and Prince George there? I'm going off memory here. I think that might be the case here, and then Horizon 1 would be an additional on top of that, or maybe they're including Horizon 1 in there as well. All right. Dan says, back to the moon pullback. We might see a little bit of pullback. It's done very, very well here recently in the last week and a half or so. So there might be a little bit of pullback, but maybe not. Let's see. LG, there's a great interview with Dan Roberts. If you search Dan Roberts, IREN, the Cube, yep, all AI factories, data centers of the future on YouTube. There is definitely good news on the horizon. Yeah, I agree. We talked about that here a little bit just a second ago. SH says, JP Morgan analysts have raised their year-end Bitcoin price target to 165,000, pointing to the cryptocurrency's current undervaluation relative to gold and strong inflows from retail investors. Yeah, I saw that too, which was kind of nice to see. Right, so we got gold valuation there comparing to that, which is nice. And then if you also take a look at the M2 money supply compared to, offset that by 100 some odd days, and you should have a nice run up here in Bitcoin price here by the end of the year. So that's kind of where I see it also. I think Bitcoin will be somewhere between 150, 180. So that's kind of right in the middle there. All right. Let's see, SH, what will be Bitfarms price if Bitcoin gets to 165,000? Well, they're being more valued on their HPCI potential than their Bitcoin mining. But even at that point, I think that will help out, right? Because you're going to be generating more revenue based on what they have already. It'll help out all the other miners as well. But at 165,000, that's roughly 50% from where we are right now. I would expect them to be at least double from where they are, somewhere around there. That's kind of what I would think. All right. Brian asks, what's your opinion on TeraWulf's Google deal? It's a great deal, right? Nice long deal. Google's backstopping it there as well, investing in the company there. I've mentioned this before. I think it might be a way for maybe Google down the road. I don't know. Maybe try to buy them out. Maybe, right? Because they do have the megawatts that are available, which Google obviously needs here. And that's just my thoughts on it. So that's something I would be keeping an eye out, I guess you could say. All right. More Tim. In Franz Baker's subscription chat, lots of talk about 120 within 6 months for IREN. Yeah. I'm not in this paid subscription plan there. But yeah, I mean, we've definitely heard people talking about $100, $150, even $200 for IREN there. If they continue to grow their GPU business, I mean, we could be even higher than that, depending how fast they just grow it. And big thing is how do they finance it, which I think they're going to just continue to finance it by leasing it or something like that. So it's going to be interesting. I would say probably the next 6 to 12 months are going to be very, very interesting here. If Bitcoin goes up in value continually with an extended cycle, and then we got all this GPUs and AI pushing us also, it's going to be really, really fun here. All right. Aid, as many are moving to AI, do you think they will drop as much in the bear market, thinking how much to hold on to percentage? Okay, so that's kind of what I was just talking about, right? What if we don't have a bear market? What if we continue to go up slowly in Bitcoin, but we continue to go up? Yes, we may have those corrections of 15 to 20, maybe 30% corrections like we have just in the last year and a half. We've had 30% correction drawdowns on Bitcoin over a longer extended time. So that could happen there. If most of these guys are moving into HPC, you got steady revenue coming in at that point. I think the impact on it will be much, much less than what we have seen here historically. In the past, Bitcoin going down 30, 35%, whatever. Miners were actually down 60, 70, and somewhere even 80% here in the last year from their highs, right? So I think that is going to be a little bit more subdued in their favor, I guess, which would be a good thing. Right, R2509, why are Riot so quiet? Seems to be news updates on X with all the others. Not much going on, I guess. I mean, they're obviously trying to get an HPCI deal with somebody also, whether it's for co-location or maybe we haven't heard anything from them. So I'm not sure what's going on with them recently. Want to see what their update is going to be like here for September for the Bitcoin production. Maybe they'll include something in at that point as well. All right, Shinshi, when is IREN's Horizon 1 coming online? It should be by the end of the year here, by the end of 2025 here. YKY, hi Seb, politely asking, does that mean you do not have an exit plan, just holding BTC and mining stocks into mid-2026? Yeah, that is currently the plan here. We'll see if that doesn't work out, if it does work out. But I do think the HPCI narrative is going to move these guys even forward more, especially if they get deals or if they expand their own, CSP, cloud service provider business as well. That could propel them forward higher, even longer. And then in Bitcoin, like a lot of people are saying, that this is not going to be the same cycle like we have seen in the past, where we have, a bear market after the fourth quarter of 2025, like we would normally have. So I'm of the same belief here. I think it's going to be an extended cycle, but we'll see. I mean, I'm up huge on a lot of these guys, right? Almost 500% on IREN, over 150% on Cypher and Cleanspark. So if they do dip, even 20, 30% from where we are right now, and I tend to exit at that point just because of fear and trying to lock in some of the gains there, I would still be really good here. But I'm willing to let them run a little bit more here from where we are. But we'll see where we end up also by the end of the fourth quarter here, or maybe middle of the fourth quarter. If these guys do a 2x or a 3x from where they are right now, I'm maybe taking some profits at that point. Right? I think that'd be crazy not to. So we'll see. D-Fly, can Cleanspark make Cypher IREN type of a run next? I think it's possible, but they would obviously have to provide some pretty hefty details as far as how they're going to achieve that, right? So they would need to become basically what IREN has become, a CSP provider, and do their own HPC, get customers in at that point as well, and growing that relatively quickly, like they've done with Bitcoin mining. So if they can do that with HPCI business as well, then yes, I think they can have the same kind of a run that IREN has had. All right. Let's see, I'm not, is that an IL or LLYA? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Question, at what price you are buying dips? I bought dips, when was it, last week? Last week I bought dips, right? When things went down on us towards the end of the week here, or middle of the week. It was like Thursday, I can't remember if it was Thursday or Friday, I bought some dips. I bought some more Cleanspark shares at that point, Bitfarms shares as well, and then I'd be buying on any kind of dips if I had extra cash to do it. But pretty much all my cash is right now in the market already as it is, so I gotta scrounge up a little bit more. But if we do dip, I will figure out a way to scrounge up some more. I maybe pull a little bit from my emergency fund, just in case. Not much, but just a couple $1,000s I'll pull from it or something like that. But yeah, we'll see. All right, SH. Why do you think Ben started talking about exahash and Bitcoin mining in Twitter? Is he thinking about mining more? I don't know. I haven't seen that from him. All right, and Kush, is the way future, what role will transaction fees play in miners' revenue as block rewards shrink? So as long as Bitcoin continues to go up nicely here, right, the mining rewards or the transaction fees can still play a limited role. But over time, if Bitcoin does not go up as, maybe not as fast as network hash rate, but there's an equilibrium, it's basically a teeter-totter more or less on it. At a certain point, I think it would be problematic for the miners, but then again, you would have some of the less efficient miners probably unplugging, so then the ones that are still efficient would be still making, there's so many variables that go into it, it's hard to, you can kind of plot it out maybe, but it's not going to be exact. You're going to be doing a lot of assumptions on that at that point. All right. Okay, BTC Miner 1. Should Cleanspark hire a good PR person in your opinion? Heard Gary Cardone saying they're not sexy. I kind of agree with him. Well, they were sexy back in, when was it, 2024, right? Early 2024. They were running while everybody else was not running, right? But they were also, executing on their growth and everything else, and they were being rewarded for it. So I think it's more of the narrative than having a PR person. All right, IREN's got basically Mike Alfred there as their PR person on X, right? pounding the table in their favor. And then we've had Rex. Well, Rex is now working for Cleanspark, so maybe Rex should become this PR person there. But he's obviously in another role there. So I wouldn't say that. I think it's just good execution, good growth going forward, or excellent growth if they can get that as well. And that will, turn the tide in its favor, I think. All right, DeFi. Cleanspark being the last miner to take off wasn't in my bingo cards, but 1 point excellent management team. Yeah, achieved goals. Yep. Was that your tweet then, DeFi? Because that was also from Bisum on X. He basically said the same thing there. All right. Aid asks, Hive is like Cleanspark, why unloved? Okay, well, I mean, there's a difference between Hive and Cleanspark. There's a couple of differences. One, Cleanspark obviously is at 50 exahash, growing to 60 exahash here. Cleanspark's trying to get to 25 exahash, so they're about half the size there. The other part of it is Cleanspark is basically all United States, right? All their operations are in the United States. Whereas Hive is mostly in the southern hemisphere, and then like Canada, Iceland, Greenland, I think in those areas where they don't have any operations in the United States. So I think that's maybe why Hive has struggled here, more so than some of the other miners here. And it's why it's also a little bit more undervalued than the other guys here. So that's just my take on it, though. All right, Michael's got a question here. With the AI focus, do you think if BTC runs, the miners' leverage against its price might be less than in the past? And do you think there is a chance BTC could outperform if it ran? As far as the revenues that they would get, yeah, I think at a certain point, Bitcoin, if it gets to like 180,000, I mean, right now I think it's like 130, 135,000 where it becomes close to it. I think 150 probably would push it over the top compared to the GPU revenue. And for beyond that, it would be even higher, obviously, profit margins for them. So there is a point where it would be, right? We've heard the miners talk about that as well, that at a certain point, Bitcoin might be more profitable than GPUs. But with GPUs, you have more certainty over it, because with Bitcoin, it could get to that point and be there for a week or a couple of days and then fall back down, right? And you'd be under that. So it's not a consistent revenue stream, whereas HPCI is. All right. As far as BTC runs, will the miners leverage? Well, okay, so BTC runs, I think it will help the miners that have, large operations, because that's going to fuel their potential to build out HPCI. I think that might help with the revenues increases there. So I think that might be a benefit to them. All right. Let's see. Sorry, DFly missed yours here. Would you rotate Cypher into Cleanspark? I own Cypher and I own Cleanspark, so I wouldn't do it. But I have rotated a portion of, obviously, Cleanspark shares and IREN shares into Cypher as well. And I've done it with Cleanspark, rotating a portion of my shares there into IREN last year. So I've done that. But that's up to you there. All right. Question 7, Sour Melon. Let's see here. So how much money does a 50-year-old need to have working in the markets to retire? Seb, what would it take for you to retire? For me to retire? Ideally, I'd like to have around, probably around 5 million. At that point, I could possibly retire, live off basically the appreciation of the assets that I have there, right? Put it into something that's conservative, S&P 500 or something like that, some mutual funds, whatever it might be, and just live off the 8 to 10% typical gains that you would have, historical gains in the markets, right? At that point, I mean, you're basically bringing in close to $500,000. I could live off that quite easily and still have, a couple $100,000 left over. But then you pay taxes, everything else on top of it. So for me, that would be enough. And it would be a nice buffer, enough if the market does go bad for us for a year or year and a half. I wouldn't be freaking out at that point. So I think like 5 million would be a good buffer. That's just me, though. Okay. Let's see, talked about that one. Okay. Margin call. In your opinion, where is Mara in pivoting to HPC? Good question. I really don't know. I know that they got a stake in one company that's in HPCI, but we haven't heard anything else beyond that, so I don't know, to be honest. We'll see what they provide as far as updates for September. Maybe they'll include something in that. All right, HB, how much longer do you think this bull market has left, both the miners and the broader market? Well, I think rate cuts are going to help, right? We got rate cuts in September. We're going to have rate cuts here this month as well, potentially. I think the consensus right now is that rate cuts are coming in here. Let's take a look at the Fed Watch tool here. I think we're still at 86%, or did that increase here for us? It's 97%. Okay, so that has increased quite a bit here. So the Fed Market Watch tool is now saying 97.8% that we're going to get a 25 basis point cut there. So that's going to happen in October. We'll see where December is. I think people are probably guessing that December is going to be the same thing. Actually, that's for December. Let's see, October is 97, 29th. Why is that one? Okay, that's for meeting. That one. Okay, December is 90% right now. Are we going to believe that we're going to get rate cuts in there as well? So you got October rate cuts, you got December rate cuts. That should help. All right, that's going to fuel the economy as well. You also have Trump and the Republican Party. They're going to be heading into midterms next year. They're going to want to make sure that the economy is, running on all 8 cylinders or 12 cylinders, so that people are making money into the markets. Businesses are investing, they're growing, hiring people, and all that stuff. So I think going into the midterms next year, I think things are going to be pretty good for us. We may have obviously some sell-offs here and there. Typically, we get a sell-off towards the end of December, right? So that might be happening here. We might get a little sell-off sometime in 2026 as well. But overall, we should be going in the right direction going forward here for at least, I would think, the next year. All right, let's see. Shinshi, question, Seb, have you had a look at Backed to understand the competition and opportunity? What's your opinion on Backed? I have not, to be honest with you. All I know is that they did have a business where they were doing rewards or something like that, right? Customer rewards or something like that. They got rid of that portion of it, and then they're going more into, the digital space, I think, more into not only crypto, but also guys like Ethereum and the assets, the tokenization of things. But we need more details. I think Mike has said that they're going to provide more details later on. So I'm waiting to see what those details are. All right, Miles. Hi, Seb. Thank you for all the data. May I ask which miners have the most gigawatts, and among the miners with gigawatts, which one is the most under? Oh gosh. Okay. Well, I think they're all pretty well. Mostly they're pretty well valued. But you got basically IREN is at 2.7 currently, like almost 3 gigawatts, I think. Right. You got Cypher, which is between I think they're between 2 and 2.7 gigawatts of what they have available currently in their pipeline here that they're working on right now. That's signed for. And then you got, who else you got there? Bitdeer has a lot also. A lot of stuff they're working on a bunch. And then Riot's got 1.7 gigawatts. After that, you would have, I think that's it. That's not like the biggest ones here. Obviously, Mara has also quite a bit, but 65% they own, the other 35% they host. Yeah, I think that's it out of those. As far as which ones, a lot of these guys that are getting valued on HPCI already are pretty well valued. Or if you look at the potential going forward, you could still see where they could go up even higher from where they are right now. Okay, that's kind of the way I look. All right, Michael, I appreciate you. Thanks. I appreciate you guys as well. Thanks for coming in. Let's see. Okay, I talked about that. SH will be cloudy for the Fed. It will be cloudy for the Fed to cut rate without data report because government shutdown. Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. So you think it might be postponed? I don't know. I would have to look back in history how that played out in the past. DFly asks, when are you taking profits in your miners after October? No, I'm going to hold off a little bit longer, even into November potentially. We'll see where they go, right? If they go up 2-3% or 2-3x from here, I may, take some off the table here at that point and leave the rest going here because I think there's a lot more potential here, obviously with IREN, Cypher, and now even Cleanspark with them getting into HPC as AI as well. And like I keep thinking that we may not have a bear market in Bitcoin here next year. We may actually have an extended cycle going forward. So I'm thinking I'm going to hold off on selling anything until I see what's going on with the economy, which we'll obviously know in about a month or two, right? Do we get rate cuts here in October, which I think we will. December, we're going to have rate cuts. So I think there's a lot of good stuff happening here to the point where, I'm going to be holding on to it for a little bit longer. We'll see where it goes. I mean, we're going to monitor the situation. It's hard to tell right now where things are going to be in the next 2 to 3 months. All right, Neil, I hope everyone has a good weekend and we do well with our stock picks tomorrow. Absolutely, yeah. I'm hoping everybody does great here. Margin Call says, thanks, Seb. You're very welcome. Thank you for coming in here. And I think we're going to call it quits. I think we cut up to all your guys' questions here. So again, I'm hoping that we get some kind of an update from the miners from tomorrow, at least one or two of them, on their operations. And I think there's still a lot more upside, obviously, for IREN, right? They're looking at to go 3x on their growth on GPUs here shortly, in short term. So, I mean, place your bets. Hopefully you place your bets early on already with like IREN and Cypher and others. But if you haven't, buy the dips if you can. I think there is still more upside. Could we come down on prices on some of these things before we go up much higher? Yes, right? It's never going to be a sure bet that we're going to go straight up on things. It's going to be volatile. But just be patient. Know what you own. Research these guys as much as you can. Read the posts on X from Franz Baker, Dolce, Kama Sutras as well. All those guys on IREN and others on other companies as well. So just be as informed as you can be on this stuff, all right, and make your best educated decisions at that point. All right. Victor asks, is there a huge upside for Cypher? Yeah, they continue to build out and go into maybe the CSP route like IREN is. I think there is. Hey, cheers, thanks. Dan hit the likes. Greatly appreciate it. Hey said, where do you see Hut 8 price target? Hut 8, that's not an easy one to figure out. Right? They basically put off all their Bitcoin mining onto American BTC. They still have the HODL position there. They're providing the services for American BTC. And then it's basically, can they get a deal with somebody? I think that's kind of what we're all waiting for there. Let's see. Pete says, thank you for sharing your opinions with us. Absolutely. Really appreciate you guys as well. Sushi, I almost forgot. Let's see. Michael, I have very little BTC and mostly miners. Based off your response, would it maybe be a good idea to move some into BTC just to catch it if it does run? Okay, if it does run, where do you think it's going to run in the next, I would say, by the end of the year, where do you think it might go? Right, 150,000, maybe 280,000, something like that, I would think, on that one. So can some of the other miners do better than that? I think so, right? So you got to look at those. What can you get for Bitcoin in the short term? 50% maybe. Can you do better with some of the miners? I would think that would be the case, right? So maybe don't go completely into Bitcoin, but that's your decision there, right? Have some Bitcoin, have some miners as well. Be a little bit diversified in a very niche space as it is. All right. And no worries, Michael, on the late question there. Love you, Seb. Love you guys as well. We'll call it a day. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully you guys have a great Friday. And it's been a lot better the last, obviously, couple of weeks than we've had for the last couple of years. So I'm glad you guys are enjoying this. I'm glad you guys are probably making some good profits as well and growing your net worth. So that's all I ever wanted for not only myself, but also for you guys as well, to be educated on this stuff from what I'm seeing and making your best decisions there. So we'll leave it at that. I wish you guys a good night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.